What's good, y'all? This is the Eric G. I am your host of the Bar Exam today. My normal co-host ain't here today, but it's all good. We gonna run it like we normally do anyway. So, to fill in for them, I got my dogs Shane at Ethos Media Network on the ones and twos, and I also got my dog Flaws as well. Say what's up, y'all.
What's going on? What's going on?
I am on the ones and twos.
I
That's a
was gonna
fact.
say the ones and twos. Like, all right, ones and
I
twos.
am. I'm on the ones and twos.
Ones and twos.
No,
Okay.
that's a fact. That's a fact. All right, so today we came up with a interesting topic that I think everyone has kind of been talking about this kind of debate for the past probably like 6 months to a year, especially since the rap space has been a little dry. But it feels like we've been kind of picking it back up. So now the conversation of like who versus who is picking back up steam. So we had a good conversation about rappers as far as who should face who, as far as who we think are good matchups. So I just want to open the floor up. I just want to see from my co hosts, what do you guys want to lead off with as far as good matchups right now?
Good matchups, like as far as like in a battle sense, or
Yeah, in a battle sense, as far as rap in a battle sense. If the two rappers, if they got to go head to head in a battle sense, who do you think is going to come out on top?
okay. So just to be clear, we're not speaking like record for record. We're talking about them like going at each other on wax type shit.
Yes,
Okay.
we're talking about them going at each other on wax,
Okay.
not
Okay.
record for record. Now, if we're
Okay.
talking record, we can have a record for record conversation. That can be a different thing. But if we're
Yeah.
talking bars, we're strictly talking bars. So, who do you think going bar for bar right now has a good matchup?
I personally would like to see a combination. So specifically, I would like to see Jadakiss and Benny the Butcher have a battle. And, to elaborate slightly on that, I would like to see the Locks and Griselda have a battle. I like I really basically view Griselda as like the modern version of the Locks, essentially. They're making gritty hip hop in an era where that's not necessarily what's cool. They're doing, even the way that they structure their rhymes and everything is very reminiscent of old Locks. Jada and Styles, they kind of do different things a little bit with their flow now. But, on those early records, they had like kind of a specific pocket that they stuck to. And that's very similar to how Benny and Conway, structure their bars. And then West Side Gun is a little bit different, just like Chic is a little bit different. So I feel like that's a dope matchup. And it's really just about rhyme structure. They rap like battle MCs. Like, if you watch those old Smack DVDs back in the day, if you watch, anything like that, all of those dudes who was coming out with mixtapes, T-Rex, Murder Mook, Loaded Lux, all of those guys, when they was coming out with mixtapes in like the 2000s, they all rapped like how Benny and Conway and them rap. And so not only that, but we've heard Jadakiss in battles before. We've heard him battle Beanie Siegel. We've heard him throw shots, the whole 50 thing, he had mad diss records against 50. So we know that Kiss is capable when it comes to coming up with battle rhymes. We haven't really heard that from Benny. We have heard that from Conway, though. He did a freestyle on, I want to say it was Shade 4-5, where he basically went at all the active battle rappers. So we know that he's got it. I would assume Benny does too, because they come up together. So that's my pick. I would like to see Griselda versus the Locks, and then specifically Benny versus Kiss. Who do y'all got? Who do y'all got in that one?
Oh, man. You make this a tough pick. Because I see why you would say that. I see why you would say that they're the modern day Locks, but
And
I don't know, man. I don't know. I off top of my head, I probably gotta go with the Locks, to be honest with you. They have more time. They have more time in.
You can answer both.
They have more veteran status in the game. As great as Griselda is, I don't know if we've seen that they've proven that they can be better than Locks yet. That's what I'll say.
I mean, well, that's unfair. Like what you just said right there is unfair from the pure and simple fact that the Locks were produced by one of the greatest hip hop producers of all time. Griselda hasn't fallen into that space yet. They ain't been
I,
sitting. They didn't get developed by Diddy.
oh,
They
okay.
weren't
If you're talking
sitting. They
about
weren't.
development,
Yeah,
if you're
yeah.
talking about development, I'm with you. If you're talking about strictly production, I would argue the Alchemist is one of the greatest producers of all time, and he produces a lot for Griselda. But go ahead.
He don't fall into the category of the upper echelon. He don't meet that threshold of like greatest hip hop producers of all time. And you talk being able to make street records, radio records, club records, party records. Like, what are we talking about? No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't make that list. And I love the Alchemist. And that's
As
like,
far as diversity, I'm with you, but niggas mention Alchemist when they talk about the greatest producers
I'm
of all
very
time.
surprised
For
that
sure.
no,
you
they
of all
no,
people say
they
that.
talk about Alchemist when they're talking about a very particular type of rap. It's a very, and it's not a bad thing. It's just not when you talk about the Locks were put into this world and got to go around and watch somebody trying to make the biggest songs in the world. Like Puff was in there trying to make the world dance and other things that I can't. Griselda ain't ever tried to make the world dance. So there's just a completely different way of writing that goes into that, which also leads into, instead of it being a funny line, it could be a punchline going at a rapper. So you learn where to put things from a songwriting perspective. So yeah, I wouldn't say that Alchemist falls into that category in that way, but I would say he's made classic rap records. That's hands down undeniable. And he is one of my favorites right now, but I wouldn't necessarily put him in that forever category.
All right.
Oh, I'm still taking on a one-on-one, I'm taking Jada. In a battle though, I'm taking Griselda because I think Conway is nice. Like I don't think
Yeah.
the other two combined can give me Conway. I don't think I just don't. I don't think that they can combine give me Conway by himself.
Sheik and Styles is not like Conway.
I mean, I like Styles.
getting them out of
like,
there.
don't get me wrong. Like Styles,
Do you think
Styles is like a perfect like they were such a good group. Like they were such a good group. Like the ability to have three guys, three different tones, three different flavors, be able to be present. So for me, I think that it was I think it's amazing to be able to see how all their voices work together. Whereas I feel like Griselda more has the ability to stand on their own more. Like I think Conway is a bigger. I think Conway has a bigger appeal. That's probably the word I'm looking for. Like he has a little bit more appeal than like Sheik and them did. But it was the times. You know what I'm saying? Like I think, not saying that there would be no Griselda without what the Locks did. So I don't want to ever act like, they didn't lay an amazing foundation for people to be able to grow upon. But that evolution sometimes, I don't think that everybody wants to really go bar for bar with Conway like that. You may have harder bars, quote unquote, but he's just a more lyrical rapper.
Mm-hmm.
You won't even think that by just the normal ear will not listen to Conway and think that he's very lyrical, which is what's crazy about it.
I think he's a
phenomenal rapper, but I think Conway is like so simple, but like also so, what's the word I'm looking for? He's also very deep in what he's saying. Like it sounds very direct, but there's also a much deeper meaning to a lot of his bars. And I think a lot of it goes over a lot of people's heads personally.
Yeah, I think the way he designs his rhymes, it's like he's what Joe and them would call a flow nigga. Like a lot of his appeal is the way the rhythms in which he structures his rhymes on the beats, regardless of what those rhymes are. The way he does it sounds good. So I think that gets a lot of people. And then you have to like kind of listen deeper for what you're talking about, for like the actual content. You know what I mean? That's like mostly like people who wanted to be rappers or people who still are rapping. Like they are kind of more digging in for that type of stuff more so than the casual fan or somebody who just like really is deeply like loves music, not just like a casual listener. You know what I mean? Like they're gonna catch more of those Conway, attributes rather than, like I said, just a casual listener. You know what I mean? They're gonna hear flow and be impressed and be like, "Damn, he rhymes a lot of shit. That shit sounds dope."
Yeah,
like,
but I mean, but the thing is, the flow gets you to be willing to listen to it over and over again, and that's where I think the Lox have an advantage in making songs versus great rap versus dope freestyles or dope rap songs. I mean, dope rap verses. Them being able to really have great songs that got played on the radio from here to Timbuktu. Like that's the difference, in my opinion, in the Lox. That's why the Lox got up there and kicked Dipset ass. That's artist development.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them
they whooped their asses, also, didn't they?
Because they weren't rapping over lyrics.
It was artist development. It was every element of artist development on show at once.
Yep.
100%. 100%.
Flaw, who you got, bro? Who's your battle you bringing to the table?
I mean, Eric threw me off, man. Eric got me all thrown off. My allergies is messing with me, but
I got you thrown off.
I definitely, he got me thrown off because I went from, is it songs? Is it people? Is it ability?
Well, let me get my opinion on that one actually first before we move on, because I'm the one that brought that battle to the table. So I think if you're just going in 2023, let me also make that clear. I'm talking about right now. If they were to both drop a verse going at each other, let's say it's a 48 bar verse, you know what I'm saying? They both do it. Today, I'm going Benny. I think Benny's got that if you're just giving him a 48 in 2023. I think Benny does more than Kiss does now. Now, historically, if you're comparing like catalog for catalog and you're just talking lyrical ability, not beat selection, not how big the song was, but just how good the raps are on each song, and you go catalogs, I think historically, then you go Jadakiss because he has more memorable bars, you know what I mean? Things that like stick with you. So that's my take on that. Now, as just straight up songs and as a catalog, solo versus solo, I think Benny's catalog is better than Kiss's overall because I think he has better production and it's just more consistently good, in my opinion. Kiss's shit is he has a lot of skips on his albums.
Yeah, he does.
That's crazy to me to say.
He does, though.
To me, dude, like I think he has.
That's crazy to me to say.
Why is that crazy?
Because and I love Benny, but when I gotta be careful here.
Okay.
I feel like Benny is. I feel like there's this places that Jada's pen has taken him that Benny's pen hasn't taken him. Like on a basic level. Like Benny doesn't know what it's like to be able to walk into any room and be like, yo, she said she was a model for a year and a half and the whole room finish it for you. He hasn't experienced that yet. Like he doesn't understand that yet. And it's not a bad thing. There are plenty of places where Benny can be, spit word for word, 100%. You know what I'm saying? But I'm saying at large, Jada can go around the world and be like,
I know
yo,
a chick
she
named
said, you know,
Superhead. She gave Superhead, moved in the building, they even gave to Superhead.
I'm just saying, so it's like it's different. It's different for me because of that. So
Okay.
that's my opinion there. But for me, like as far as the whole, is it supposed to be versus a person or?
Well, this is
head up,
why I
mono,
didn't want to
mono?
bring up specific songs because I wanted to talk strictly verses.
And that's my point. So if we're talking about people being able to not necessarily pull on their catalog, but pull on their ability.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so if we're talking about being able to pull on their ability, then raps that I would love, rap battles I would love to see that I know will never take place. I love to see Andre 3000 battle Lil Wayne or not. Like, I just think 3 Stacks hasn't had to use that muscle that way, but it doesn't mean that he can't use that muscle, and it'll never happen. But I would love to see motivated Dre in pure competition space. Yeah, I think he would be able to give some people that we traditionally look at as untouchable, like a M or a Wayne. I think Andre has the ability to put himself in certain conversations, and because he's Andre and he's cool somewhere playing the flute right now, everybody's able to live and coast, and his ego is big enough to let everybody else's ego continue to go unpunctured. But I just genuinely believe that he's one of those guys that can show up and not many people can continue to be themselves when he shows up.
No, and that's why he hasn't even put a solo album out yet, because what's the point? We already know what he could do. So him putting out a solo album would him kind of be taking laps around everybody. But I'm interested in Andre versus Wayne the most.
Because what does that look like in your head? Like, what does that look like to you? Because I assume Wayne's gonna get in his punchline bag.
I don't know. I
don't think he will.
Because we've never really seen Wayne battle nobody. He's throwing subliminals here and there, but he hasn't really flat out like, oh, okay, Wayne's shitting on this nigga. Like, you ain't heard that.
And that's why it's like
that's why it's hard to tell.
Yeah, I'm like, what bag does he pull from?
Because I mean, whose respect do you want? Do you want a 17-year-old kid? You want a 15-year-old kid? You want a 22-year-old? Or you want Jay and Nas and M and these guys to be like, yo, like you and Dre, yo.
But isn't that what got Wayne to that conversation though? Like that's his main attribute, aside from crafting good songs, because that you have to do that.
But he, I don't feel like he's been doing that lately.
No, not really lately. But I'm saying, like Carter to Carter 3,
better half of a decade or so. Yeah, that really hasn't been the focus.
True, but this isn't really.
Wayne wasn't really punching that much on Carter and Carter 2 like that.
Carter 2 is when he started to do it.
It
was when he started, but he was still. Wayne still had
a
storytelling
element. He was rapping on the Carter 2. We're talking about.
Yeah, that's my favorite Wayne album.
We're talking about he went on the mixtape run for Wayne was like 06, 07.
To like 09.
The year he put out like 1 year he put out like 1,000 freestyles.
1,000 plus records or something like that.
Yeah, and that was kind of where he.
And when and the feature run too, though. The feature run, he was rapping like that. It was a lot of punching. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm just saying. Like, I feel like that was his main attribute when he got the accolade of like, okay, you're up there with them niggas now. Like during that time is when he was doing all the punching.
Yeah, it's just That shit works when you're just rapping.
Mhm.
From a battle perspective, I don't know if he would take that route against Dre.
Against 3 Stacks, yeah.
That's what makes it hard to even weigh up against each other, because you're right. I don't know where Wayne would go with it.
Because I imagine that 3 Stacks would be an Atlanta version of Loaded Looks. Like, that's how he would approach a battle, I feel like. Like, he's going to be using, like, because he's going to draw from his real life, probably. He's not going to try to all of a sudden be on some thug shit. Like, I don't see that. You know what I'm saying? He's going to battle him consciously still and belittle him in other ways. Like, whereas Wayne can pull from that because he fucks with Zulu Nation and shit. So he's got, you know, that side to him. He's a psychology major, from what I understand, when he was going to school. So he understands. Like, he's a smart dude, but we've just never really seen that side of him artistically. Not saying that he hasn't dropped smart raps, but I'm saying, like, you know, beyond kind of mainstream subjects. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I think with Wayne it's a little harder because Wayne has never let us in on like those like deep subjects when it like gets into like those type of topics. He's never really done that. So I think it is harder to gauge when it comes to that because we don't really know what he would say. But I think that's what makes it a little bit more intriguing.
Well, let's look at it like this.
Okay.
It's one thing to say a line. It's another thing. Wayne has historically addressed things in song, but they don't come off. All of those situations happened before the new flow. So like he talked about, I mean, shit. One of his more classic lines from a battle standpoint was, "I snatch your baby money. I got your baby money. I snatch your bitch. Get that? How much you love your lady money?" That's what he said. Then he walked off of it. So it's like, no, he can go. It's just what.
See, that's what I'm saying, though. He's never fully gone there, though. Like, he'll drop a line here and there. He might hit niggas with subs. He might shoot little pew pew. You know what I'm saying? Like, but he's never fully just let off the clip on a nigga before. Like, and I'm curious what that would look like. That's a good one. 3 Stacks and Wayne. Like,
yeah, it is.
I imagine how 3 Stacks will come. Like, I could kind of see that a little bit. Like, because we have examples of that type of battle rap. So, like, I could see that. But Wayne has so many different bags to pull from. It's like, where does he come from with it? I don't know.
Yeah, that's why I think that's why that makes it so interesting because, again, we've never really seen Wayne engage like that. So,
right.
That's why I think this...
I mean, we haven't seen 3 Stacks like that really either, but
yeah.
But at the same time, like, I've seen niggas like that battle, and they're just hard to beat. Like, they're just really hard to beat. That's how I'm kind of looking at it. Like, I'm looking at it like he would be difficult to say some shit that people would be like, "Oh shit!" Like, what are you gonna say about 3 Stacks? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, niggas been calling him weird his whole career because of the way he dresses and shit, and the Erykah Badu said, well, like, what are you gonna say about this nigga? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
So I don't know.
I think the thing that makes it harder with Wayne specifically is because even though he's not battle tested, you could say that his demeanor acts like he is. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, he acts like he could go there.
Yes.
So it seems like whereas 3 Stacks, we never imagine him in a battle scenario ever.
Nah.
Whereas with Wayne, we could picture it. We can picture it with mad different people, whether it's Push, you know, like there's a bunch of different people that we can pull from with Wayne as far as like who he's beefed with, even whether it was like on wax, subliminal, whatever the case may be. We can still pull those cases. Cameron. Like, there's a bunch of different cases out there. So, I mean, I think Wayne is just harder because, again, he's not that battle tested. Speaking of people who are not battle tested, I would like to get into my picks because I think that my picks are the most interesting out of everyone's.
Hold on, real
Personal
quick though, real
bets.
quick, because Flaw threw out two possibilities with 3 stacks. He said three
Oh
stacks.
yeah, go ahead. Oh
He
yeah,
said
he
three
did.
stacks on Nas also. Just real quick.
He
Now
did.
Nas is battle tested, and we've seen what he does when it comes to wax. He goes straight street mode with it. Like it's just dissing, just in your face, aggressive, fuck you. Just that's what it is. Like that's how Nas comes on a battle, and you either like that type of battle rap or not. But
Still to
basically,
this
that's
day,
how
too.
that's like how all of his disses towards Jay-Z were, you know what I'm saying? That's how his disses towards all them other Queensbridge dudes, you know what I'm saying? Cormega and all of them niggas like on Stillmatic. Like that's how that shit came across. He was just like going at, like very in your face with it. So I imagine that is how he was still approaching like with 3 stacks because he went at Jay like that, and Jay's one of the greatest.
Yeah, I don't imagine Nas to take anything lightly. Yeah, Flaw, what do you think? Nas and 3 stacks.
I think it'd actually be one of your better rap battles, just because you're dealing with guys that don't have to end up with a street element. Both of them are storytellers. So you would be able to really have a lyrical battle as opposed to the street side. I don't think Nas is gonna take it street against 3 stacks. I think Nas is a chameleon in regards to like where and what he's dealing with and who he's dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I don't think he's just pulling the I'll smack you with the, you know what I'm saying? That's just not.
He not going upside 3 stacks dome with the burner and all that.
No,
Like, okay.
no, because I mean, it makes you look weird. It makes you look weak. It makes you look weak from a battle
Yeah.
standpoint. Like that's
It
not
does.
even how he moves. It's not even how this dude moves. And then, so yeah, I don't think he would take that. I think it would just be a really, really, really good like lyrical exchange about everything from accomplishments to raps, and it's just the original core and essence of what hip hop was just my style, my flow, my thing, my you know what I'm saying. So it's not even about we've made it about material things, or we've made it about money, or we made it about women, or we made it about whatever, but it's really the competitive nature, the back and forth of just jostling back and forth and trying to get the better of a person, the better flip, the better way to say something, the better way to use something that's true in a creative way. And I think that we've gotten so far off, like what's true, what's not, and who that even matters to. I know there's a lot of people out there listening that just want to hear something funny, and it's not even about whether or not it's true. It's like, oh, he just said such and such and such and such. It's like, what do you like? Personally, as hard as Ether was, the biggest lines that like jump out of my head, like the dick sucking lips, it's like, yo, Jay was somewhere sucking dick, that don't have nothing to do with me. And then that line means something completely different. Him knocking down your baby mama, that's a thing.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. You say
that's
things based on fact, it hits different.
Like, that's a thing. Like, so I just feel like that's a real thing that kind of gets swept under the rug in a lot of these battles. I believe it's gotten to a point where it's about what crazy, outlandish, wild combination can you put together, which just takes you further. I mean, don't get me wrong, it dives you further into the craft, into the art of what you're able to draw and pull from. But it's not like rooted in this place of reality and truth, which is what made the greatest rap battles and those things that hurt more. Like, ooh, he just said what? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that hurt. You know what I'm saying? It hurt when I heard Drake say. It hurt when I heard.
That's your girls tour.
That hurt me when I heard him. Like that hurt me. That hurt me to hear that. Like it hurt me. Like not even on like no funny shit. Not on no ha ha ha, but on like rapper to rapper level. You like, oh no, like oh no, like it wasn't no room. It wasn't nowhere to go. It was like, oh no, like damn, that's some shit you got to see a nigga about. Like it's nowhere you can't wiggle your way out of this one. Like that's some dead on shit you got to go deal with real quick. I mean, that was one. He said a lot of disrespectful things.
Shout out to my boss bitches, wife, and niggas.
I mean, I'm not even thinking about that record. I'm even thinking
He
like,
boosted up girls'
I
egos
mean,
on a whole nother level with that bar. I'm just
I mean,
saying, man.
the nigga. I mean, like, no, like he said some disrespectful things. Like you know, yeah, you was the man on the moon. That's what. Yeah, that was that man on the moon shot that he took at Cuddy was tough. You was the man on the moon. Now you just go through your phases. Life of that. Yeah, yeah. So it's just a lot of things in there that was just like, oh no. I'll never hand that over in rap. I really believe that rap needs that. You need the element of truth. What made it dope in the part was a nigga using your busted ass jacket or using your busted ass sneakers or talking about your fucked up haircut or whatever the case may be, talking about the whip he just pulled up in, talking about how much money is in his pocket and pulling out the stack. Like it was about it being true. It wasn't just about you being able to fucking pull some shit out your ass that was funny or rhyme. It was
Mhm.
about it being like, oh wow, look how he used this with this fact.
Mhm.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? When Biggie
Yeah.
said trying to get paid, blow up like the world trade. Moment of silence to anybody out there that lost anybody in the World Trade Center for me actually saying the line. I do understand that today in this society that the line has been bleeped out everywhere. But the funny shit is he didn't even reference the line of
Yeah, he
9/11.
was dead by that
No, he
one.
didn't.
He
Talking
referenced
about
the
a different
line
one
off
that happened in like '93.
that
Yeah.
didn't work. He like, I'm trying to get paid to blow up like the world trade. Like he trying, not even that it happened. So it's like people don't understand. Like rap is like great rap to me, in my opinion, is the equivalent of probably Chris Rock comedy, Dave Chappelle comedy,
Yeah.
where there's these morsels of funny and funny and funny, but damn, he said something so true.
Hmm.
And we
Yep.
got to deal with the fact that he said some shit that's just fucking true. He might have put some jokes around it and he might have shined that shit up, but
There's
we got to
facts.
deal with the fact, yeah, like there's a fact in here about our
Hmm.
stereotypes or the way we handle each other or the way we approach situations or whatever
Right.
the case may be.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm always looking for that thing that's like I'm rooted in my reality. I'm aware, I'm in tune, I'm in touch with what's going on. And now how do I take these realities and now dive into the creative world that's out there for me to use my metaphors like and as.
Yeah. I mean, I this is why I want to lead into the next two people because again, I think that they are two of the most influential in their own right rappers right now, but I also think that the way that they came up is very interesting, and the way that I'm gonna bring up their bars and just how they progress is gonna lead into my argument. And so my argument is Lil Yachty versus Lil Uzi Vert. And if you were to ask me to pick right now who I would want to hear a song for more, I would say Lil Yachty, no hands down. When both of them first came out, they came out in a very, very strange time. So, this is the SoundCloud era. This is the era that. This is another hip hop is dead era, if you will. It just wasn't labeled as that. But if you wanted to label it as that in today's time, then you definitely could have, because a lot of people definitely thought that. You had Lil Uzi Vert, you had Lil Yachty, you had Playboy Cardi, you had 21 Savage, you had Kodak Black, you had all these different people coming out from the SoundCloud woodwork, and pretty much the majority of the hip hop majority consensus agreed that these guys were trash. Everybody thought that. except for everyone who was like maybe like 21 and younger at that time. Everybody thought that if these guys can make it, then anybody trash can make it. I fast forward to today's times and I look at a lot of these XXL freshman covers. And I look at a lot of the progress to see where a lot of these guys are at right now versus where they were at when those covers came out. If you look across the 2016, 2017, 18 covers, even 19, you'll see a lot of those guys on those covers that were supposed to be the next big thing that did not make it. I remember when people were saying things about Lil Yachty not knowing anything about Tupac and Biggie lyrics and being like, you're never going to make it in this industry if you don't know anything about that. And I look at him now and he's one of the top sellers in the industry. I remember when Lil Uzi Vert went up to Hot 97 and he was trying to freestyle on there, but, you know, doing the freestyle in his own way, in the new version of what a freestyle is. And I remember Ebro telling him, you'll never make it. You'll drop another project and no one will ever care about you. And I'm pretty sure Uzi was the first artist of this year to break the hip hop charts of #1 for his album. So I look at where these guys came from, and I look at what a lot of people said about them, specifically Yachty. Because I remember when a lot of people said that Yachty was going to be a one-hit wonder off that song One Night and nothing was ever going to happen with him, especially his rapping ability. And then he came out with this project last year called Michigan Boy Boat. And the #1 thing that I saw going across the board was, I didn't know Lil Yachty could rap like this. I didn't know that he could keep up with a bunch of these Detroit rappers. I didn't even know that he could be on top of a flow like that. And so I look at the progression of where Yachty has came from, and I think that Uzi has kind of stayed in the same place. I think that he has kind of rode the same kind of wave and he's done a little bit with the auto-tune experimenting with other genres, but I think as far as rapping ability, I think Yachty has been the one to expand out of his own sound and go outside of that genre and figure out, how can I be a better rapper? How can I make things more impactful on songs? And I think if you go back and listen to his past 3 projects, he's proven that he can do that. So I know that you guys aren't the biggest fans of Uzi or Yachty, but if you have listened to either of them over the past couple of years, do you agree or do you disagree?
Well, let me ask you a question, because you would be
Sure.
more in tune. Definitely with Uzi than Yachty. Like,
Okay. Absolutely.
Does he still do the like flow?
Yes, but it's nowhere near as often as it used to.
Okay.
Nowhere near. But here's the thing. If you listen to Uzi's new album, he has a new weird sounding ad lib, and it's kind of on some Playboy Cardi type stuff, like
Okay.
sound effect wise. So
It's
that's
Ray
where
J.
that's where it's like it's a little hard
just
to
wondering if he
digest
still
if
used
you're not the
that.
biggest Uzi fan. And here's the thing: I used to be a big Uzi fan, and I listened to that album. Wasn't a lot on that I could digest, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah. No, I was just asking because that's like the one rap flow that I associate with Lil Uzi. Other than that, I basically associate. I'm not very familiar, just to keep it,
All the way.
But yeah, like I don't know a lot of Uzi rap shit outside of the look at the shit on my wrist, so this in the dick, so my bitch, like, you know what I'm saying? Outside of that, I don't know how he raps at all. So, you know, and like the Bad and Bougie, like that verse, like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how this nigga raps. So, you know, but Yachty, I've heard him rap on, you know, mostly the Yachty that I listen to is all the Detroit shit. You know what I'm saying? But I've heard him do like different things on that. Like I don't think he's necessarily great at the Detroit style of rapping, but like as far as the street side of Detroit.
Right.
But at least he's doing different things with his flows and stuff. So like just from the little information I have, I would go with Yachty.
I mean,
All right, Flaw, what do you think?
I listen to both of them. I mean, I've listened to both of them over the years. I just think that they're both just working and everybody has their own path and their own journey. I mean, Uzi is Uzi, and it's a different thing. Like Uzi's fans are different, in my opinion, than Yachty's fans. I feel like Yachty's fans are a little bit more mainstream leaning. Probably even a little bit more pop crossover. Whereas Uzi's diehard fans are like leaning more into like the alternative scene, the hyper pop scene, that digicore sound, like shit that y'all may not even know about, which is really all like subgenres of like rage rap at the end of the day.
Well, this is why I think this is a very interesting conversation because because I definitely agree with you because they both definitely have their own sounds. They both kind of proved it this year with their own respective solo albums. Yachty went in a psychedelic,
Yeah, he did. That's what I'm saying. Like,
indie pop route, like on some like, and I don't even want to compare them because he doesn't like to compare them, but like on some Tame Impala shit. That was the route that he went. Whereas Uzi kind of went on some like when Lil Wayne dropped Rebirth type shit.
I mean,
that's kind of the route that Uzi went towards more.
He went Playboy Cardi.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think this is why, again, this is such an interesting conversation. Because I think when you bring in the songs that they're actually rapping on and the songs that they actually are forced to not go in the genres that they like to go in, and then you sit one down and then you sit the other down and then you hear just both the rap songs and then you take the verses for what they are. Me personally, I have heard more Yachty bars that would clear out a little Uzi Vert bars. And people compare Uzi to like the new version of Wayne a lot of times. And I hear that sometimes and I'm like, I get where you guys are coming from. But then I hear Yachty rapping on like this other type of shit that I don't even think Uzi has even tried to touch yet. And I'm like, Yachty's kind of clearing the feature list, the bar list as far as everything else goes. So I think it's a nuanced conversation when it comes to those two, particularly. I think you can listen to both their specific albums for their rap bars, and you can get a lot out of them. But as far as who's rapping better, me personally, I give the edge to Yachty. If anybody disagrees with me, listen to the Michigan Boy Vote tape that came out last year.
What about in a versus? Like if they were to both pick their top, let's say 10 records, who's winning that?
If you're talking just strictly off of records.
Yeah. Just like if they were to do like a versus.
Now off that, I'm going Uzi.
See? And that's the ill part about how this whole
but
thing
see that that's why it's a nuanced conversation.
And that depends. That's what makes it literally the conversation that you're having. Depending on who you're talking to and in what context, some of these conversations make perfect sense. Some of them make absolutely no sense. And who you would put in front even is different.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Flaw, you ever you ain't got to say who it is or anything like that, but you ever had like a stage battle? Or like I know you done probably battled on like the corner and stuff like that, but you ever like battled in front of people?
I've battled in front of people, but never like on a stage. Like never staged battles. It's been just like I battled at a Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles one time.
Yeah, shit like that.
Yeah.
That was interesting. I battled at studios. I battled at some clubs. I mean, we're talking 20, 30 people still. I mean,
Yeah.
So I mean, you still get that crowd.
No,
pulling,
that's
you still
that
get
counts.
energy.
Still a crowd.
That counts.
Exactly. So I mean, it's yeah, it's a thing. It's a part of it. It's something that you go through probably.
Is that still happening? Because I told a story
No.
on here last time I did a guest spot on here. I told a story of a nigga that walked up on me and I caught me completely lacking. Like, you know what I'm saying? Walked up, like, hey, which one of y'all niggas is Shane G? I was like, that's me. And then he was like, nigga, you rap? I was like, yep. And he just started spitting. And I was like, damn, I'm not ready
that's
for
not
like,
happening no more.
that shit caught me so hard off guard. I was like, man, I gotta like, and I knew from then on, like, you gotta have rhymes on deck because the nigga might approach you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
That's true. I mean, it needs
you can't rely on
to
notebook
come.
all the time. You gotta have them up here. You know what I'm
It
saying?
needs to come back. It needs to come back.
does.
That energy is real. But I think the thing is we've segmented the whole thing way too much.
That got ruined when Drake went up to Hot 97 and rapped a freestyle verse off of a BlackBerry, and everyone still said it was good. Everyone still.
I still
good.
You
and
know
once
what?
that
What it
happened, it
was?
was like, oh, okay,
No,
all bets
no,
are off. You can just do whatever up on radio now.
No, I mean you still got to be like, okay.
Like here's the thing, because were the verses nice? Of course they were. This was Drake right when he was trying to prove himself, so of course they were nice. But again, we had never seen nothing like that. We had never.
Yeah, but he just. I gotta give him credit. All he did was pull the curtain back on the bullshit. Motherfuckers was coming up there with pre-written verses anyway.
Forever. So, you think niggas spitting for 10 minutes?
All he did was be like, yo, I'm not about to remember this shit unnecessarily. I'm about to just go ahead and rap it.
Here,
and he did it in a much more authentic way.
That's it.
And at least it wasn't a verse that you're gonna hear on another song later. A lot of these niggas be reusing the freestyle verses, and verses don't be really freestyles. It be the third verse of a song, and now they want to pull it for this battle situation, all kind of stuff. So no, I appreciate. That's what makes you appreciate 100 Miles and Running. That's what makes you appreciate Grammy Family Freestyle. That's what makes you appreciate 5 a.m. in Toronto. That's what makes you appreciate these things, like, because there are moments where it's like, this was that, you felt the way, you had something to say, and that's what it is. Yeah, that's what makes, that's the art of it. But I do think that we need to get back to that energy in rap, not even from a place of the conflict. So we can't have that because niggas today are too sensitive.
Yeah.
I
agree.
Like being able to get your feelings hurt, being willing to be able to rap and get embarrassed. Nobody talks about the embarrassment.
That's what everybody's running from.
Like nobody wants to talk about the embarrassment of losing and going home and deciding, yo, if I'm gonna be, I gotta take this serious. I gotta get better.
And like in all different aspects of life too, not even just rap, but like just embarrassment in general. Nobody wants to be embarrassed anymore because now embarrassment.
Nobody wants to be embarrassed anymore because it lasts forever.
Yeah.
Right.
Nobody wants to be embarrassed today because it's video footage and you're documented and it's so bad. You can't quote unquote overcome or live down your embarrassing moment. So that's where it's become
I wish
hard
people
for
would realize that even with all that, we still get over shit real fast because there's gonna be some other shit that happens in a few days and we gonna forget about that shit.
No, I mean like
you know what I'm saying?
But I feel bad even being able to pull this as an example. But because it's not even a rap thing. But this goes to my point. Jordan Poole will forever be punched by Draymond Green and everybody saw it. Forever.
True.
It's not even a rap thing. So I'm looking at it as a rapper. You can never say nothing to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's where it becomes problematic in hip hop
Mm-hmm.
because it's like put yourself on the line. Like getting in a battle is putting your career on the line. Even back then,
Especially back then.
it wasn't guaranteed that you would survive
Especially back
No,
then.
it wasn't.
Like back in those days, like
because of who you were going up against.
Yeah.
You were going up against a real trained killer who could really kill you.
yeah.
How many niggas today can really kill you? Either because the music, like you know what? I probably shouldn't say this.
The
on
content
camera.
in the music.
I probably shouldn't say this on camera. I don't give Pusha T points for dropping the freestyle at the Louis Vuitton store.
Oh, okay.
And the reason that I don't give him credit for it is because that's Pharrell signed you a long time ago.
A long time ago.
It wasn't like y'all just got cold.
Oh, like Grinding came out in like 03.
Right.
He's
like, no,
like,
he's been
He was
cold.
signed before that.
No,
Like-
no. I mean, like he's responsible for it.
Right.
Facts.
Right.
So it's not the same. You didn't call Mr. Arnaud and them.
Yeah, he didn't call just anybody. He called Pharrell.
And I don't even know if he called him. It's like you might have been around already. And it's like it's not the same as if it would
Yo,
have been
Push, you
like
trying to run to Paris with me real quick? I'll
It-
see if I can get you
it-
on this show one time. All right, yeah, for sure. I'm gonna drop this new
and it's
shit.
like, oh man, yeah, instead of me doing
Hey,
that.
Pharrell, hear this
Because
shit
you
that I
can't
gave you
convince
on
me,
the speech.
because you can't convince me that Pharrell didn't have you already penciled in for the spot just on some it's a good look for you. The
Yeah.
only question was what you chose to perform in the spot. That was the conversation. There wasn't a conversation of if Pusha T was gonna perform
Nah,
at
that he was
Pharrell's
definitely
first
happening.
Louis Vuitton. So again, I don't give you any points for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so many people got caught up in, oh, he dropped it at the Louis V, and it's like, if it wasn't Pharrell and it wasn't Virgil's show, I would be like, damn.
Yeah.
He went to a big neutral ground platform. This wasn't neutral ground. This like being like, yo, Beyonce dropped a such and such female dish record at a Jay-Z concert. It's like,
Right. It's like, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
Alright.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
it's
All
like,
right, y'all.
okay.
Well, definitely appreciate y'all for tuning in to another episode of Bar Exam and hearing just a few rappers who we would have face off against each other. Leave a few comments on who you guys want to see face off against each other. If you have any suggestions.
You know what? I got a better example before we leave.
All right,
That's
go
like-
ahead.
That's like Kid Cudi dissing Drake at a good music event.
Which happened, by the way.
At a,
Which
I'm
happened.
just saying, like, and you would be like,
All right.
expect it. Okay. I see the connection. I'm just saying a lot of
Kendrick
people
dissing J.
don't-
Cole at the Super Bowl. I got
Like,
you.
I just feel like there's some moments where it's like the move is sometimes bigger than the record, and people are putting a lot of energy into the move that was made. And I'm like, what move? He
Yeah.
called his big brother. Well, there's no move.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, why did we even have to make this move?
Right. This wasn't no move. This wasn't a move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That Pusha
Nigga,
T
this
made
was a favor.
move. Pusha
Right,
T
this
made
was a favor for a
move.
favor.
This is a
This wasn't
favor.
a
This
favor.
wasn't.
This is yo. I'm
Nah,
responsible.
Pharrell did push a solid by doing that because he didn't have to
Bro.
do that.
Bro,
No, not at all.
when you sign somebody, you feel responsible for them.
Even after they've already.
When you sign somebody, you feel responsible for them. Like
20 years later.
you Do
signed to
you see?
somebody else now, president of a
see?
whole nother
Do
I can
label.
see
Like,
Pharrell
do you
feeling that
see?
responsible because Pharrell has been so instrumental throughout Push's whole career.
yeah, for sure. Like, and I'm with you on all of that, but I'm just saying, like, people
The Daytona
also,
run,
yeah,
that wasn't Kanye, if I'm not mistaken.
I thought that was.
Might have been. I think so.
I thought that was, yeah.
Was the Daytona Ye? Was Daytona? Wait,
Yeah,
the one
Daytona
after
was
that.
Ye.
Wait,
Yeah, it was.
the one
I think
after
it was
that.
Ye.
I'm sorry. Daytona was the one after.
Yeah, it
the
was.
one after
Oh,
that.
okay.
He started to dive into his thing. So it's like he got with Ye, he got with his thing, he got with Pharrell, and it's like cool, bro. I'm just not gonna lose my mind because it happened at a Louis Vuitton show.
Nah,
That
yeah, I'm with you on that.
if it wasn't family business, do you have the juice to get that done? And it's
No,
not a knock.
the
Like he's
headlines.
still pushing T, and I still love like just to be clear, like man, like I don't really give a fuck one way or the other. Like I don't really give a fuck. So it's like I don't care what y'all niggas want to do, have a problem with. I love Jim Jones. I love Push. Y'all
Yeah.
whatever.
No, the
But as far
headlines
as
in and of
like,
itself was the
anytime we
only
criticize
reason
on
that
here, that don't
that
mean
was
we
a big
hating.
story. Like
When
the fact that he performed it at a Louis Vuitton runway show. The only reason why that was a big story is because everyone on the headline, as far as like blogs, made it a big story. Like as far as putting that in titles, as far as like being like, oh, Pusha T just dissed
because
Jim
that was
Jones
the biggest.
at a
That was
runway
one.
show in
That's
Paris
because the
for
average
Louis
person,
Vuitton. Like
the
they
average
made that an
person can't
emphasis.
tell you. People can't tell you what Pusha said. The average
No.
person can't tell you what he said because the biggest news was
it was
where
at
it
the
happened.
Louis show. Yeah.
That was the big boom. Wasn't even the. It was the move or the move, not
Right.
the bars.
The
Yeah.
fact that he did the diss, not anything that was
Like
actually in
personally,
it.
like personally, and again, this is odd to go from like Pusha to Drake because I didn't even mean it like that. But what I liked about the Drake situation was when the nigga says, "I don't want to hear about this ever." No, that's not the part I'm looking for. My bad. When he says, "I waited 4 days, y'all. Where y'all at?" Like that's some in the moment. Like I put something out there in the world, and I'm looking around like. So y'all
I
just
threw
not
this
gonna
rock.
say.
I
Y'all
threw
not
this
gonna
Like,
bring
what's
it
rock,
going
back?
on?
and I ain't hiding shit. My hand's right here, and I threw the motherfucker. Like, you know who threw it. Why you ain't threw shit back yet?
What's
You
going
doing?
on?
My hand's
Yeah,
right
that really
here,
made
full
like
of dirt still.
so I'm saying so like I appreciate when again that rooted in real moment happens with this thing where it's like woo. So the Pusha T thing and Jim was like I felt like Pusha got a little sensitive on it, and that's my personal opinion because I felt like Jim got asked a very specific question,
Yeah.
and Jim answered the question. That's all. And
Yeah.
in Jim answering the question like a regular person, and he forgot he was Jim Jones. And Jim Jones has the fucking right to say Pusha T ain't in my top 50.
That's what I'm saying. Like, all criticism is not hate. And I just want to make that
No.
clear. You know what I'm saying? Just because we prefer one artist over another, or we name drop somebody, said we didn't like this particular piece of art that they put out to be judged. You know what I'm saying? And we go on to do that. That doesn't make us haters. I just want to.
No, and even the way he cleaned it up, he didn't sound like a hater.
No.
So you got to give him the props
But
for
being a rapper
giving
comes with
Pusha T
ego.
the props in the first place.
Being a rapper comes with having an ego, though, because you have to believe that you that nigga at rapping.
I mean, it's to me the scary thing is like if I'm honest, it's like the funniest thing about Jim ain't the bars. It's like it's the him willing to play it.
The
Yeah, it's him
personality.
yeah, it's Jim being like, "Come on now, let's keep it on wax." You know, you don't want them problems, and it's like, "Oh, Jim."
Him hanging the mic out front of the bodega, first line. That shit was trash. Like,
And
that's,
it's Jim. It's
Yeah.
Jim. It has nothing
Yeah.
to do with Jim being able
Yeah.
to sit down and keep up with Pusha in a lyrical way. Like this has nothing to do with
No.
that whatsoever.
This
And
is
that's
just
why
a
I
nigga,
feel
I'm not scared.
I think he
Yeah.
knows that too, which is why he started off the song
Yeah,
like
nigga.
that. Because what
Yeah.
else
That's
are you
my-
gonna say to that? That shit was trash.
That
It's
shit
like
was
no,
trash.
it wasn't, but that's funny for you to say.
Yeah.
So
and again, it's a thing. So again, man, I'm just happy to see rap have that fun spirit, a little bit of edge, and I'm glad that everybody's been able to keep it peaceful on that side.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
one
So
thing I
yeah,
do
like
want to say. I want to see some young niggas go at it the same way without them being ops.
no, they don't have
Young niggas are spinning the block on each other and rapping about it. I don't want to see
Yeah,
that.
we
I
just-
want to
we
see
just
two
don't
niggas
have the-
rap about each other and then be all
but
right
it's not
in the same
always
building.
them. It's just not always
No, I get
them.
it. I get it.
It's and it's
I
how
just
it's
want to
what
see
guy
that.
said.
That's all.
But it's what guy said. That's the thing. Like
I just yeah. It don't have to be
Nas was supposed to
disrespectful.
Nas was supposed to stab him, yo.
Yeah.
For what that man said to him. Like, I'm sorry. Nas was supposed to, like, he was supposed to be like, oh well, they gotta go. Like that's why his mama was like, yo, bro, you gotta go apologize. That's why his
Yeah.
mama made him. He
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
yo, that's how
insane.
that's
That's
that
not a
shit that
bomb.
gets
Yeah,
that's
you
that
can't
shit
you
that get
can't say
rapper
that.
shot.
You
That's
can't do
that
that.
shit that get rapper shot. It was the cat was out of the bag already, and it's like, yo, that's that shit that get rapper shot. But
Jay-Z Hove's mom was the original cancel culture.
Yeah,
cancel that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gloria, shout out to Gloria for calling it in. Like,
Yeah, no, you can't do that. No, we're
Yeah,
cutting
no, that's a bridge too far.
Yeah, you can't do that. We're cutting that out.
I just watch niggas bury Biggie and Pop. We gonna
Yeah.
put a plug on that.
It's
'Cause
too close to
you-
home. We're
Yeah,
not hitting
'cause-
this subject anymore. Don't do that. Don't do that. All right, y'all. This has been Eric G with the Bar Exam. Follow us on the Bar Exam Pod. Follow me at the Eric G Life on all platforms. Follow Shane_Ethos on all platforms. Thank you to my dog Floss for tuning in. We will be here every single Monday. And again, thank you for tuning in. This has been the Bar Exam. See y'all later.